Welcome to Power Talks, your go-to channel for unlocking the power of education and skill development. Here, we dive into transformative tips, expert insights, and inspiring stories to help students, professionals, and lifelong learners in Kenya and beyond achieve their dreams. Whether you're preparing for exams, building your career, or seeking personal growth, this is the place to be. Subscribe now and join the Power Talks community as we empower you to learn, grow, and thrive. Listen to the hosts now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know, we all struggle with this, but today we're going to tackle work-life balance.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically, we're diving into this text that's really focused on how students can figure this whole thing out.
Okay.
But, you know, even if you're way past the whole, exams and all-nighters phase,
Yeah.
I think the stuff in here is, surprisingly useful for anyone who, is feeling kind of overwhelmed or there just aren't enough hours in the day.
Right, you're constantly on.
Exactly. So get ready, because we're about to unlock some serious secrets to feeling less stressed and more in control.
I love it. Okay, so what's really cool about this text is it goes way beyond just saying, self-care is important, which we all know.
Right. We've heard it a million times.
It actually gets into the science of why work-life balance is crucial for our minds and our bodies. We're not just talking about feeling a little less frazzled,
Right.
It's it actually impacts things like how well our brains work, our immune systems, even how we perform at work.
Okay, so no more guilt tripping about taking breaks.
Exactly.
But that's a strategic move.
It is 100%.
I like it. But let's break it down a bit.
Okay.
So where do we actually see this balance or lack thereof really showing up in our lives?
Yeah. So the text highlights 5 main areas, and they all kind of connect.
Okay.
So mental health, obviously, physical health, productivity, how we're doing at work,
Makes sense.
our relationships, and even job satisfaction.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's all connected.
And it connects the dots in a way that's wait a minute. For example, chronic stress, that feeling of always being on can actually mess with our immune system, making us more likely to get sick.
Wow.
And then mentally, it can lead to burnout, which then, leads to not being able to focus, making bad decisions, and then ultimately, not getting as much done.
So it's like a domino effect.
It is.
Okay, so it's not just about, feeling better. It's literally about functioning better.
Right.
In every part of our lives.
100%.
Okay, I'm already starting to see how neglecting this balance can, create chaos.
Right. It ripples out.
Now, the source mentions a bunch of different strategies for dealing with stress.
Yeah. Tons.
What are a couple that you're yeah, this is the good stuff?
Okay, so many good ones. But one that always stands out for me is the Pomodoro technique.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
Have you actually tried it, though?
I've dabbled.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea of breaking work down into those, manageable chunks.
Right.
But I'll be honest, I haven't quite figured out how to make it a regular habit.
Yeah, that's the key.
So tell me, what's the magic behind this thing? Why does it work so well?
Okay, so it's all about working with our natural rhythms of focusing and then resting.
Okay.
Because we're really not meant to just concentrate for hours and hours on end.
Right. Our brains just kind of tap out.
Exactly. And so the Pomodoro technique, with its little 25-minute work sprints, and then those short breaks, it's kind of like playing to our strengths. Interesting.
It lets us tap into those moments where we're super productive, but then it also gives our brain a little mini reset.
Okay.
So you avoid that mental fatigue.
So instead of fighting our natural tendencies, we're working with them.
Exactly.
That's so smart. I'm definitely going to give it another shot.
I think you'll like it.
Okay, what about mindfulness?
Oh, yeah.
This is one of those words we hear everywhere, but I admit I sometimes roll my eyes a little.
I get it.
Thinking it's just for yogis and meditation gurus.
Right.
Can you demystify it a bit for us regular folks?
Totally.
Yeah.
So mindfulness isn't about chanting on a mountaintop or anything.
Okay, good, because I don't have a mountaintop.
It's really just about bringing your attention to what's happening right now.
Mm.
Like in this moment.
Okay.
Without judging it.
And how do we do that?
a super simple way to start is just focus on your breath for like 1 minute.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Just notice your chest rising and falling, the air going in and out of your nose. That's it. That's it. Seriously, just paying attention to my breath for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, I can handle that even on my craziest days, but like, what does that actually do?
It sounds so simple, but even just 1 minute of focused breathing can actually calm your whole nervous system, reduce those stress hormones.
Oh, wow.
And even help you focus better.
So it's like a mini vacation for your mind.
Exactly like hitting the reset button.
I'm sold. I'm feeling calmer already just thinking about it.
See?
So we've got these tools for managing the like internal stress, in our heads.
Right.
But what about all the stuff coming at us from the outside?
Yeah, the external demands.
The text talks about setting boundaries.
Yes.
Which sounds amazing in theory.
Right.
But in practice, let's just say it's a work in progress for me.
I hear you. It's hard.
So what are some of the like most effective ways to start building those boundaries, especially for someone who, maybe struggles with saying no?
Okay, so boundaries are key. But yeah, they can be tough to put into practice, especially when it feels like everyone's always working and like always available.
Oh, it's true.
But the text has some really practical tips.
Okay, good.
And one of the most powerful is actually defining your work hours.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about like having a start and end time on your calendar.
Right.
It's about being fully present and engaged when you are working.
Yeah.
And then this is the important part, truly disconnecting to recharge.
Oh, the guilt of disconnecting.
Right.
It's so easy to blur the lines, especially with our phones always buzzing.
I know. It's so tempting.
I'm totally guilty of like checking emails late at night or answered calls on the weekend. But I'm sensing that's not exactly what we're going for here.
Not exactly. It can lead to resentment and burnout, and it's just not sustainable.
Right.
So another key boundary is learning to say no.
Ugh. Knew you were going to say that.
But I know it's hard, especially when we want to help and we don't want to let people down.
Yeah, for sure.
But trust me, it gets easier with practice, and the rewards are huge.
Yeah.
You protect your time, your energy.
Easier said than done, though, right?
Yeah.
Any tips on how to actually say no without sounding like a jerk or like, risking my job?
There's no magic phrase, but something simple like,
'Kay.
Thank you for thinking of me for this project, but with everything I have going on right now, I won't be able to take it on.
Okay, I like that it's short, sweet, to the point.
Right.
Okay, so we've tackled stress management boundaries. What about this whole personal well-being thing?
Yes.
Is that just code for like bubble baths and face masks?
Well, those can be part of it.
Because let's be real, who has time for all that when you're barely keeping your head above water?
Right. I hear you, but personal well-being is about so much more.
Okay, tell me more.
It's about taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally. And it's not selfish, it's actually strategic.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Think about it. When you prioritize your well-being,
Yeah.
you're basically investing in being able to show up as your best self. You have more energy, you're more focused, more resilient.
I like it.
The source mentions healthy lifestyle choices, hobbies, social connections, and of course, self-care.
All those sound great, but let's be real for a second.
Good.
Who actually has time for all of that?
I know, right? But that's why it's so important to shift our perspective.
Okay, how do we do that?
Instead of seeing these things as extras or like indulgences,
Yeah.
we need to start seeing them as essential investments
Ooh, I like that.
in our well-being.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
Let's just focus on hobbies for a second.
Okay.
Having something you're passionate about outside of work, something that brings you joy, lets you be creative, or just curious,
Yeah.
that can be incredibly energizing.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's not just the activity itself, it's the social connections that come with it.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right. You find people who share your interests.
Makes sense.
So it's like a double whammy of good stuff.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
So work-life balance isn't about like perfectly dividing your time.
Yeah, not at all.
It's about finding a rhythm that works for you,
Exactly.
that lets you thrive in all these different parts of your life.
You got it.
So it's not about, being perfect. It's about finding what works and being able to like shift gears as needed.
Exactly. And that's something that's really highlighted in the text. We've talked a lot about the mental and emotional side of things,
Right.
but we can't forget about the physical stuff too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The text mentioned that too.
Things like sleep, exercise, nutrition.
You're so right. It's easy to get caught up in like the mental game of it all. But if we're not taking care of our bodies, it's all going to fall apart eventually.
Exactly.
I know I'm totally guilty of sacrificing sleep when I'm stressed, but I know that just makes things worse.
It's a vicious cycle.
So what does the text say about this whole physical well-being piece?
It really emphasizes that our physical and mental health are totally intertwined.
Okay.
Like, did you know that not getting enough sleep can actually have the same effect on your brain as being drunk?
Whoa, seriously?
It's kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah, that's a wake-up call for sure.
And then on the flip side, getting regular exercise can lower those stress hormones and even boost your mood.
Interesting.
Even when you're feeling super stressed.
So it's not just about like vanity or fitting into our genes.
Yeah, not all.
It's about literally taking care of our brains and helping us deal with stress.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm seeing the bigger picture here. But it's easy to get overwhelmed with all the shoulds.
Right.
Should be sleeping more, should be exercising more, eating healthier. Like, where do we even start?
I think the key is to start small and focus on progress, not perfection.
Okay, I like that.
Instead of trying to change everything at once,
Yeah.
just pick one little habit you want to work on.
Okay.
Maybe it's adding a 20-minute walk to your day, swapping out soda for water, or just trying to get to bed 30 minutes earlier.
Okay.
The point is to find something you can actually stick with.
That makes sense. It's about building momentum, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so one area I personally struggle with is the whole social connection thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
I know it's important,
Is.
but when I'm stressed, my instinct is to just isolate and like power through everything.
I get it. It's tempting to just shut down.
So how do we make time for people when we're already feeling stretched so thin?
That's where it comes back to prioritizing. The text talks about nurturing those relationships with family and friends.
Yeah.
Finding things we enjoy doing that also allow us to connect with others.
So it's not just about like the number of people we see.
Right,
It's
yeah.
about spending time with people who actually make us feel good.
Exactly. Those people who energize you, who get you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
I think there's this idea out there that self-care and socializing are kind of selfish,
Oh, yeah, I've heard that too.
especially when we have a lot of responsibilities.
It's like we should just be working all the time.
Right. So how do we shift that mindset?
It's tough, but we need to remember that taking care of ourselves actually helps us take care of others.
Okay, explain that.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
We need to fill our own cups first.
That's a good metaphor.
So we have something to give.
It highlights that ripple effect, right?
Exactly.
When we're feeling good, we're better in all parts of our lives, work, relationships, everything.
100%.
So taking care of ourselves isn't a luxury, it's essential.
It is.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. This is giving me a lot to think about.
Good.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we mentioned before,
Okay.
that work-life balance is a journey, not a destination.
Yes. Such an important point.
So what does that actually look like in real life?
It means we're not aiming for some perfect state of balance.
Right.
Because life is constantly changing.
Yeah, things are always happening.
Our needs change. What worked before might not work now. So it's about being flexible, being willing to adjust, and checking in with ourselves.
So it's not about finding the right answer. It's about finding what works for us right now.
Exactly, and being open to trying new things as we go.
That takes the pressure off.
It does. It's about giving ourselves permission to experiment, to try new things.
This has been such a good conversation.
I agree.
And I think one of the biggest takeaways is that work-life balance isn't about perfectly splitting our time.
No, it's not about that 50-50 split.
It's about finding a rhythm that helps us thrive in all areas of our lives.
Right.
Prioritizing our well-being, setting boundaries, nurturing our connections.
And being kind to ourselves along the way.
Yes, exactly.
It's a journey.
Okay, I'm feeling empowered to take charge and create a life that feels good and sustainable.
I love that.
And I hope our listeners are feeling the same way.
Me too. It's been a pleasure chatting with you about this.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Of course.
We hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring.
Yes.
And remember, you deserve to thrive, not just survive. So go out there and make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, as we're talking about all this, I keep thinking back to that idea in the text about self-awareness.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
It's like, it's not about following some strict set of rules.
Right.
It's about figuring out what we need and what actually works for us.
Exactly. Like understanding our own energy levels, what stresses us out, what's important to us.
Right.
And then using that knowledge to make choices that help us feel good.
Because what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. We're all different.
So it's like we're each running our own little experiment
I love that analogy.
with work-life balance and seeing what happens.
Totally. Like tweaking things, adjusting based on what we learn.
But I think sometimes we get so busy
Oh, yeah.
that we forget to stop and think about how it's all going.
We forget to reflect.
Yeah, we're so focused on doing.
Sure, our culture is all about being busy and productive all the time.
It's hard to slow down.
It is, but it's in those quiet moments,
Yeah.
when we can really connect with ourselves.
And figure out what's working and what's not.
So it's not just about trying different strategies.
No.
It's about being aware of ourselves.
Yes, and being open to learning new things.
So work-life balance is like a constant process of figuring things out and adjusting.
Exactly. And it never really ends.
There's no finish line.
Nope, it's a lifelong journey.
That makes sense. This has been such a helpful conversation.
I agree.
And I think for me, the biggest takeaway is that work-life balance isn't about reaching some perfect state.
Right. It's not a destination.
It's more like a direction we're heading in.
I like that. Direct
Making choices each day to build a life that feels good.
that feels aligned with who you are.
Yes, fulfilling, sustainable.
You got it.
Well said. And it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress.
So true. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate the small wins.
And keep learning.
Always learning.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope this deep dive into work-life balance has given you some new ideas and some inspiration. Yeah, go out there and create a life you love.
Remember, you deserve to thrive, not just survive. So make it happen.